Hello, everybody, and welcome to another grammar episode with me, Emily, your favorite English teacher. Today, we are going to talk about the passive voice, which is a topic that we start at the B1 level and that becomes more relevant as time goes on. So, today, my objective is pretty simple. I'd like to learn about the forms of the passive voice with you, talk about why it is so common in English to see the passive voice, and then practice the 4 steps of the passive voice. I have divided forming the passive voice from active to passive into 4 easy steps that we're going to practice today. So, first of all, let's answer the question of why we use the passive voice. We use the passive voice because it takes emphasis away from the subject. Instead of saying, Emily stole the necklace, it's the necklace was stolen by Emily, because the important part of the sentence is the necklace that was stolen. Equally, sometimes we don't know the subject. So, for example, we don't need to say who did it if we don't know. And if we don't know, the only subject that can help us, or the only grammar structure that can help us, is the passive. So, for example, I could say Emily stole the necklace. I could say someone stole the necklace. But if I don't know who that someone was, I can say the necklace was stolen by someone. Okay? Or the necklace was stolen. Equally, we also use this passive voice structure when we're trying to remove the blame from another person. This can be because it sounds more formal. So instead of saying, oh, David sent the reports, we could say the reports were sent by David. That sounds very nice and formal. For legal reasons, lots of news media providers tend to avoid using subjects to not blame other people and say, oh, he did it, she did it, things like that. Instead of doing that, they use the passive, which sounds more professional. So if you want to sound professional, you're in the right place today. Okay, before we continue, let's talk about something very important. In a sentence, we have a subject, a verb, and an object. Okay? The subject is the thing that completes the action. So, in the sentence, Emily eats cake, the subject is Emily. A verb is the action in the sentence. So, in the sentence, Emily eats cake, eats is the action, eats is the verb. And the object is the thing or the person that receives the action or the verb. So in the sentence, Emily eats cake, the cake is what receives the action of eating. Let's have a look at these sentences at the bottom. The man cooked breakfast. The man is the subject, cooked is the verb, and breakfast is the object. The teacher explains grammar. The teacher is the subject, explains is the verb, and grammar is the object. A good way to think about the passive is that instead of saying subject, verb, object, which is our typical grammar order in the English language, we say that the object is verbed by the subject, okay? So the form of the passive voice you can see at the bottom of this slide. The object is what starts the sentence. Then we have a conjugation of to be. It could be is, are, am, was, were, will be, is being. Then we have a past participle. And then in brackets here we have a little optional section by the subject, because sometimes you don't know the subject. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between the active and the passive here. So we had these 2 example sentences. The man cooked breakfast. The teacher explains grammar. The passive voice takes this subject, verb, object structure and swaps it around. Breakfast was cooked by the man. Grammar is explained by the teacher. Another thing to know is that object pronouns have to become subject pronouns, and subject pronouns become object pronouns. So for example, if it's I stole the necklace, then it would not be the necklace was stolen by I. It would be the necklace was stolen by me, because it has to become an object pronoun. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, here is an active sentence. Emily punched Jack in the face. We're going to start going through the 4 steps to discover how to make the passive voice. Step 1, we have to identify the object. Who receives the punch? In this case, Jack receives the punch, so Jack will be starting the sentence. Number 2, let's identify the tense. When we conjugate the verb to be, we have to conjugate it in the same tense as the active sentence. So it looks like this is a past simple tense, and I can say that because the word past, or the word punched, is in the past simple. So I'm going to conjugate to be into the past simple. Now we have Jack was. Our next step is to find the verb in the sentence, turn it into the past participle. So Emily punched Jack in the face. Punch is the verb. How do we turn punched into a past participle? Well, actually it's the same. Punched is punched in the past participle. So Jack was punched. And then at this point we know who the subject is. The subject was me, Emily. So I can choose to add it. If I say Jack was punched, that's okay, but obviously we know who it is in this case, so it's better to say Jack was punched by Emily. Let's identify the 4 steps. 1, identify the object and then put that first. 2, find the tense of the sentence and then conjugate the verb to be in the same tense. If it's past simple, then it would be was. If it's future, then it would be will be. Step 3, identify the verb. Put the verb into the past participle. So if it's ate, then it would be eaten, for example. And then finally, our optional step, add by and then the subject. You're a genius. Okay, like we said before, if you have any pronouns, you need to change them so that they fit in the correct part of the sentence. So if you have an object pronoun in the active voice, then it will need to be a subject pronoun in the passive voice. Let's have a look at this example. The teacher shouted at her students. Her students were shouted at by the teacher. Who are her students? If I start the sentence with her students, I don't know who I'm referring to. So actually, if we keep everything the same in terms of pronouns, we can make things a little bit confusing in referencing, because I don't know who her is at the beginning of a sentence. So the correct form is the teacher's students were shouted at. Okay? In some tenses as well, it can be quite hard to remember to conjugate the verb to be correctly. So for example, one of the biggest issues that I often see with students is the present continuous tense. It's really important to remember that it's not just is, but is being. Okay, so for example, I could say, I am eating a croissant. A croissant is being eaten by me. Okay? All right, guys, we have a big challenge for you today. It's practice time. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and answer these questions by turning each of the 8 sentences into the passive voice. Write them down or make a note of them in your head and we'll go through the answers in 5 seconds. Okay, let's go. First of all, Jane wrote a beautiful story for number 1. Now, we go through each of our steps. A beautiful story is the object. The tense is the past simple, was written, because we also use the past participle of write. And then we have the extra by Jane, which is the subject. Number 2, the grandma knitted an itchy sweater. An itchy sweater was knitted by the grandma. Number 3, the dentist brushes his teeth twice a day. The dentist's teeth are brushed twice a day. Notice how we don't say his teeth are brushed twice a day by the dentist. It doesn't sound very good. So we start with the dentist. The dentist's teeth are brushed twice a day. And number 4, they will serve food at the party. That means that food will be served at the party. Are you following your 4 steps? I hope you're doing well. Number 5, Leo is painting a strange picture. A strange picture is being painted by Leo. Now, we said that the present continuous is a difficult one. Number 6, I will not attend the meeting this evening. The meeting will not be attended by me this evening. Number 7, the conductor has stopped the train. The train has been stopped by the conductor. Number 8, even though it says number 1 there. Did you write this? Was this written by you? Well done, everybody. Did you answer all of the questions right? If you did, then you are a genius and you deserve £1 million. Unfortunately, I cannot give you this £1 million, but I wish I could. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a like and consider joining our school for free materials, daily challenges, and live sessions with a dedicated community that wants to learn English every day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye bye.